so much for joining us for another weekly panel with the Higher Education Digital Community Builders group here on Facebook. My name is Kati Hartwig. I'm the coordinator of social media and digital marketing at Youngstown State University, and I'm joined by Morgan Campbell from Indiana University, Bloomington, and Lakia Brown from University of South Carolina. And I'm really excited to be talking to both of them today because we're going to chat TikTok. So I'm going to turn it over to Morgan first to just introduce herself, and then we'll go from there.
Awesome. Thanks, Kati. Yeah, I'm Morgan Campbell. I work at Indiana University in Bloomington, and I have been there now for over 2.5 years. It seems like it's flying by, but my title there is social media and digital marketing specialist, and basically I oversee all the official IU accounts. There's Bloomington accounts, there's just IU accounts, there's accounts everywhere, and then I also have a great team of interns, 4 student interns on our team, and my boss as well.
Awesome. And Lakia?
Hi, everyone. My name is Lakia Brown, and as Kati mentioned, I'm with the University of South Carolina as the social media specialist. We have a team of 4, so I have my boss, who is the senior social media strategist, our videographer, and graphic designer. Our team of 4 is a pretty well-oiled machine. We also have a great intern who I will be talking about quite a bit in this TikTok discussion, but also like Morgan, I've been here about 2.5 years as well, and it has been fantastic.
Awesome. And I have to ask, because we're talking about TikTok, what is your current favorite TikTok trend?
Gosh. I think for me, I had to look earlier, and I'm like, what have I been liking lately? And honestly, like the Amazon hauls or like the Shein hauls where these girls will order all these clothes and then try them on for you that are like my size. And I'm like, this is so much more helpful than those silly Amazon reviews. So I've been like on there looking at clothes and deals and just adding to my shopping addiction.
Yes.
Okay, for me, which is kind of weird, mascot TikTok is funnier than a lot of people would think. So I've been getting into like pro sports mascots. It's really funny. It's very lighthearted. Yeah.
Yeah.
Benny the Bull is like the top
Yes. And Gritty, hilarious.
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely. I know. I think my favorite right now is the waking up in the morning thinking about so many things. I'm not going to sing it. I'm a terrible singer, but it's just so funny because I'm teaching a class right now and I keep like relating social media when I was younger, and they're like, we have no idea what MySpace was or anything like that. And I'm like, if there was a throwback on there, I would be so embarrassing. So I'm loving that trend because everybody's just showing all their embarrassing videos. So right. I love it. Makes you feel a little less like, bad about how embarrassing we were as kids, right?
Right. Eyeshadow and chokers and the layers. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Bangles.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. No. Oh gosh. This generation on TikTok, and now their entire youth is just being like recorded on TikTok. So This is crazy. But
right. And I see all these videos of like these teens and they're like capturing all these moments that are like, I would never have thought to just have my phone ready or be recording these things. Like by the time I'm like, that was really cool, I should get my phone, and I'm like, it's over, it's already done.
Exactly.
How do I do that?
I know.
I think about like when I was still in middle school and I had like a digital camera and I had to upload everything to my computer, and then eventually you end up losing all that stuff. So I'm like, at least they get to have these memories.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I feel like honestly we could talk about TikTok and this generation like for forever. But I'm gonna pop into the first question because I'm sure we'll come back to all of this at some point. But one of the biggest things that I feel like, especially in higher education, we have so many things being thrown at us all the time in social media. I mean, the 3 of us know for sure. And then you introduce a new platform, it feels like several every year. And so when TikTok really blew up, I think a lot of higher ed social media pros were like, how do I even begin on this platform? Especially because it had, you know, kind of a base already with Musical.ly and all that. So just I'm always curious to know, like, how did your institution start out on TikTok? Was it like a group discussion, or was it just one day you were like, okay, we're getting a TikTok account, I'm making it, let's roll?
Yeah, for us it was I looked into it like December 2018. I was only like 2 months into me starting there, and I was also a fresh like graduate that year, so I was like, I don't know if I can do this. Like, I don't know if this is am I allowed to do this being here so early? But I brought it to my colleague at the time, who's now my boss, and I was like, you know, this is blowing up. Should we get on there? Should we at least like save our username? And he's like, yeah, let's like save our name on there, and then maybe just see what it is and make sure everything's approved and think of a strategy for it before we just start posting things. So for the first few months, I was just like looking at a bunch of different videos, and at that time there really wasn't any universities on there. I think maybe like LSU and Clemson, the really big accounts that like people know their name. And so once after a couple months, we decided like, well, we'll focus on like music video type content and see if we can get like student orgs and student groups on there to like show off their skills, and then also just campus beauty, because that's always an easy win. We know that's the secret sauce when you need engagement.
Exactly.
So we just came up with like a strategy from there, and like luckily for us, we had really great leadership who are like, you know, if you think you can do it, go for it, and you know, if not, then we'll figure something out. But yeah, it was definitely a slow start and like trying to figure out how to get it started and how to even go viral, and it took at least 8 months, I think, that summer after we started looking into it to really get it off the ground. And we finally had a video that had decent amount of likes. So from there, we're like, oh, let's just keep trying. It's like throwing a noodle at the wall, see if it sticks.
Yeah. Which video was it that ended up getting like the good engagement on it?
So it was when the Get Up, is that what it's called?
Oh, yep.
Mm-hmm. When that was like the hot trend, and I'm like, we have got to get on this. We have our dance team at the time, the Red Steppers. I mean, they have red cowboy boots and like hats. So I'm like, this is perfect. So we had them dancing outside the Sample Gates, which is like the most iconic spot on campus, and danced to it because they already had a routine down and ready to go. And it hit like 3,000 likes, and I'm like, this is the best day of my life. I finally got thousands of likes on something. So yeah, it was definitely, of course, a hot trend at the time.
Yeah. Lakia, you'll like this one because one of our very first TikToks was actually with our mascot. And it's funny because the student worker panel, and so Alyssa Osman is one of my students, and she was on that panel, and she was in our Pete the Penguin costume. Mm-hmm. And she was the one who did the Get Up challenge for us, and she practiced it for like days before she got in there and did it. So yeah, that was one of our first TikToks.
Well, I guess I can preface this by saying Kati also did a Get Up challenge as well. That is our mascot. I can actually share that video for context, but we got our start in May of 2019. Our team of 4 was finalized in March. So this is 2 months after the videographer and graphic designer started. And that was also when Before I Let Go, like the remix by Beyonce, came out. And so I was like, we should get Kati to do the Before I Let Go challenge. We'll just, kick it off this way. And our videographer did some really fun like outlining of certain pieces of the video. And like, that's how we got our start. We were able to share it on all platforms, and it got a lot of love. So that was fun. When we got our start, it was really the team, and we did some, and we quickly realized that that's not necessarily the best thing for TikTok. We did a lot of I don't want to say published content, but like pre-recorded, not necessarily made within the app, just to kind of show off like really nice shots of like commencement and like campus beauty and stuff. And they were good, but we got better traction once we hired an intern. His name is Aiden. He is fantastic. His first video, like his introduction video, got over 50,000 views. And like, he's such a likable person. He has such a great personality. So we essentially put the account in his hands. Obviously, he would talk to us about like ideas he has, and if we could tweak it to make it make sense for the brand, we would discuss that like about 2 days a week. But last year, we also played into the women's basketball team because they were number one for the longest. They finished the season as the unanimous number one. And they're just they're a fun group. So every video we had with them performed very well, and that kind of elevated us a little bit more. But we also had, and it's kind of, that's what happens with TikTok. You have some videos that are just so perfect for the moment. And when our men's team beat Kentucky with like the 3-point shot buzzer beater, we got that on a TikTok video, and that had almost 100,000 views. So sometimes it's really just like great timing and things that just work out in your favor. But really, I attribute a lot of our success to our intern, Aiden.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
I loved watching him. I would always like refer to your guys' account and like show my interns and like, we have to do this thing that this guy's doing. And it's funny because I learned he's actually from Indiana too.
He is, yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, connection.
Is he the one that was just like super funny and would go across campus and like interview people, or was that IU Bloomington? There was one. I make my students like stalk everybody's TikTok. I'm like, come on, we need good ideas. And it was one of you two that had like an incredible student on there that was like hosting TikToks and stuff, and just so much fun.
We found this guy Michael Winner, and he came up on our For You page, and we found out he went to IU, and he's like has like hundreds of thousands of followers, and he's just like a funny dude. Like he has some of his videos have like no substance, but they're hilarious. So I'm like, we gotta find him and we gotta use him somehow. And so I bought a microphone off Amazon, met up with him one day, and he's like, all right, what are we doing? And I'm like, well, we'll just go around, ask students of IU trivia, see what they said. He goes, am I allowed to like run away and scream? And I said, please do that. I'm like, I'm not gonna do that, so please you do that. And I'm like, that's what we need for TikTok.
I honestly think the coolest thing about TikTok is accidentally finding students that are viral and have huge followings. Like we have one student that paints is it like cornhole or like ping pong tables or something, and they're amazing. And I finally made the connection that she went to USC, and I was like, wow. We have like a cheerleader that's super popular, and I was like, this is amazing. Now it's not always we don't always get to work with them because of like schedules and whatnot, but it's just really cool to be like, oh my god, that's one of our students.
Yeah,
it's fun when you like find those like random show up on your For You page, like, or someone will send me it like, oh, did you get a bunch of followers because this person went to IU or they're wearing your shirt? And I'm like, no, but I'm glad I have a new person to look out for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's honestly like we found out just in the most random ways that some of our students have like thousands of followers. Or like I have one student who just came in for an interview the other day, and he was like, yeah, I just decided one summer that I wanted to market myself, and I gained 156,000 followers on TikTok. I was like, oh, okay. That's, so I don't know. So not anything to brag about, no,
right.
Come on now, dude. So it's always so interesting. So do you mostly find them like on the For You page? Is it just kind of like they pop up there and that's how you find out about them? Or do you talk to your other students as well to try and see like who they follow to kind of get them involved with TikToks on your campus?
Yeah, I mean, for us, it's really been on the For You page, which, I mean, obviously on my personal page, I'm liking like Indiana things and things around higher ed in general, just because I'm almost trying to make my algorithm like more like that so I can find those things. And yeah, they'll just like pop up on our page. And luckily we have 4 student interns in total. And so between them 4 and them being on TikTok as well all the time, they're like, did you see this video, or someone sent me this, or this is my friend. So yeah, the students are like so key for TikTok to like work. I feel like it's like the most, like for the other platforms you can kind of get the gist of it, but for TikTok I feel like if you don't have students at least helping you find things or helping you create content, then it can be really challenging.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like I should probably preface this with, if anybody's watching this and has never actually used TikTok before, we're using terms and stuff that we're very familiar with because we're on the platform, but the For You page is just probably one of the most impressive algorithms I have ever seen on any social media platform. I mean, and it's so funny because my friends, they'll be like, you seriously have not seen this video on TikTok? It's everywhere. And I'm like, no, it's everywhere for you because that's what you're interested in, but it's not everywhere for me. So I just think it's one of the most impressive algorithms. But basically the For You page in TikTok world is just curated based off of videos that you've engaged with that are, relatable to your life. So, and then of course, you have your following as well. So that's what we're talking about when we talk about, my string just flew up. When we talk about finding students on the For You page, just them kind of organically popping up. Lakia, how about you? I know you talked about students and, finding students and whatnot, but have you, I know you said sometimes not all schedules line up, but I saw that University of South Carolina did like these mini vlogs, kind of like a day in the life type of thing. So how did you find the students for that? And then how did you like coordinate that? Did you give them a template to follow or?
So that's a great question. Last semester, we had the creation of a program called Gamecock Guides. And they're equal parts content creators and equal parts peer leaders that kind of check in on students in quarantine and isolation. It's literally a program that was birthed because of the pandemic. And it kind of helped us bridge the gap between like students with, everybody being either like away or in some sort of hybrid form. So outside of our intern Aiden, who is the most consistent face on our channel, a lot of those are Gamecock Guides, and we have basically tasked them to create vlog style videos just of things that have been going on with them in this whole pandemic school year. And we never gave them like a template to follow for day in the life stuff. Like we really just kind of gave them the creative freedom to explain like what they do or, what they've been up to, whether it's a wellness day or, whether it's working in the visitor center. We really just told them like, it just has to be captioned, give us something nice. And that's really what they did. So that's really a partnership with our Student Success Center. I wish I could say like we randomly like just found these students. Some of them we found from TikTok on the For You page, but a lot of them are peer leaders with our Student Success Center as well.
Okay, cool.
So do you give them access then to TikTok, or do you like get the files from them and create?
To be completely honest, it's an assessment kind of thing because I'm sure like when it comes to student interns, not everybody has the same skill set. And we had some Gamecock Guides that really didn't know how to work TikTok. So I have what is called TikTok office hours on Tuesdays and Thursdays, the days that start with T, because why not, And it's like a 2-hour period that I reserve specifically for them to like talk about editing styles, or even if they needed kind of like a beginner's rundown of TikTok, you know, I made myself accessible in that way. But wow, I just went blank. That's so wild. I'm sorry.
That happens all the time.
It does happen.
So do you create the video?
Oh, sorry. That's where we were going with this. That's where we were going. Because of how the quality is when you upload an already made TikTok, I give them the access, but I also require them to log out once they're done. What I have them do is kind of screen record their draft. I go through and look for any editorial changes that can be made. And once they make them, we go over copy together, because I try to kind of teach them how to do all of it, like working for a brand. So we workshop the copy together, any relevant hashtags and things of that nature. And then I text them like, hey, remember to log out.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is what is working for us.
Nice. Yeah, we've been trying to figure that out too, like, because we also have kind of like an ambassador team, like the guides, the Hoosier Hike team, and we haven't been able to be as successful with TikTok with them, just because trying to figure out how to gather those files, and how, like, some of them, like you said, aren't as TikTok savvy as others. So our student interns are great, and they get the app now and they know what to do. So trying to figure out how to do like a mini vlog, like you said, and get more student faces on there, because yeah, it can be hard to just trust them and caption everything and use the right hashtags and appropriate music and all that fun stuff.
Right.
Yeah. We ran a TikTok contest last month, and it was like one of those things where you kind of run with it, and then you're like, wait a second, how are we going to actually share this content when we get these submissions? And so it was a little bit of a, you know, crazy time, but it was like one of those things where people just sent us their submission, but it had their names on it because it was the downloaded video, and then we uploaded it. And then of course I got nervous because I was like, well, what about copyright, because some of them used songs. So I was like, okay, hurry up, give me the name of the song and we'll somehow put it on there. So yeah, TikTok is like, I mean, we say all the time that social media is like the Wild West, but I think TikTok is the actual Wild West. Yes. It's insanity. Absolute insanity. So I guess with that honestly kind of leads us in to the next question, because, you know, we talked about kind of like using our students to help create content, and how unique of a platform TikTok is. So with the way that like the For You page is curated, I mean, we talked about how insane that algorithm is, and just how, you know, it really is. And, you know, there are so many different communities that are represented across TikTok because of this. I mean, you know, you might be part of a community that gets a lot of TikToks about a TV show. You know, meanwhile, I get like One Direction TikToks because I'm still obsessed with them. And so, you know, all these different things. So how have you kind of used that to your advantage, like when you're thinking about your TikTok strategy?
Yeah, for us, I'd say, so like on my personal account, I'll follow, like, I have a bunch of universities. If I see that they're active, I'll follow them just so that I can see kind of what the temperature is with everyone. And then, gosh, yeah, I mean, really what finding content and finding like relevant trends for us has been, my interns are scrolling through their For You page, which in my perspective, I feel like that's a good sense of what college students are watching for the most part. And so what she'll do is she'll like save the sound, or she'll like the video or send it to our group chat and just be like, okay, what can we do with this? Or how can we make this into IU? Like, it's trending right now, let's hop on it. And so then we're like going back and forth on different ideas and everything. And then by the end of the day, usually she already has the video ready, and or at least by the end of the week, we have something done with it. So really, it's just been a lot of like watching TikTok on your own time, or like on basically every day I'll spend like 30 minutes at least on TikTok during the day, just trying to find ideas. And it's also a nice like brain break for me from work, just looking at the For You page. And some days I can't find anything, and other days it's like, well, there's 3 or 5 ideas we could do. Which one can we do first? So yeah, it's a lot of like, there's no secret sauce, I feel like, and which can be very daunting to a lot of people.
I agree, definitely. Everyone on our team has a very different For You page. So we kind of go for sounds that can be used to diversify our content, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So we try to tap into different trends, obviously like apply it to the brand and stuff. Honestly, it's been a little harder with everybody being so far away and like not having like physical office hours with our intern. Things that are happening beyond our control, you know, it's hard to account for those things too. So it's really, I don't know. It has been a weird time. But honestly, like the diversity of everyone's For You page ends up helping us kind of decide or dictate what direction we want to go to, how we want to apply it, and to try to expand our reach a little more. And sometimes, I mean, I guess I could have waited to say this. Sometimes it's something that's a little controversial. So recently, I'm sure everybody knows the whole like USC thing. So University of South Carolina and then University of Southern Cal. So that whole discussion was essentially solved with a lawsuit. Everyone knows that, it's fine. But like the cocky nature of South Carolinians and Cocky, like our mascot. I personally did a TikTok where I basically said, our school was founded in 1801. California was founded, like the state of California was founded in 1850. And then the other USC was founded in 1880. We were here first, basically. And of course, like that sometimes invites like negative discourse. I knew that would happen, but we kind of needed the engagements anyway. So really just gauging conversations that can increase engagement, even if it is a little risque, as people might say.
Yeah, I feel that though. Like TikTok is like our riskiest. Like,
yes,
because we have a big rival with Purdue, which is only like 3 hours north of us, and it's always been the IU Purdue rival. And IU hates Purdue, and Purdue chants IU sucks at every event they have that we're not even at. Like I went to a concert there one time, and they chanted IU sucks. So it's like it's very big thing. And basically every video we post, we get like boiler up, like from Purdue fans, like on there, and it's like, no, go away. And we've literally like commented back saying like, go away, or like, why are you here? Because that's just like the nature of TikTok, is that like just being not ruthless, but kind of ruthless. So yeah, we did a video once of like what Purdue fans think they look like versus what they actually look like, and I didn't even know, honestly. It was a little bit of miscommunication. My intern posted it, and I looked, and it was like pictures of clowns of what they actually look like, and I'm like, oh God, I don't know if this is good or not, but I guess we'll see. We'll get the engagement.
Right. And I guess that's also a really funny thing about having a rival, because Clemson fans do that to us too, and we don't even talk about them. They're just in our comments like, go Tigers.
Yeah, they just show up. Yeah,
exactly.
They do. They show up. We had, so our president, Ohio and Michigan, I think just the states in general, have a huge rivalry. Like you know, we call them the team up north, whatever. But I do love Nikki Sundstrom. So Nikki, if you're watching, I still love you. But so we're, you know, Youngstown. We're practically Pennsylvania at that point. But our president is Jim Tressel. And so I don't know if either of you know who that is, but he was the head coach for Ohio State, like during their glory years, essentially, I guess. And Michigan fans still, no matter what, they find our TikToks, even if he's not in the TikTok, they will find them. And like, you would think that they would want to do this on Ohio State stuff, but no, they're at YSU because Tressel is at YSU. And I'm like, go away. So there were, there's like, again, kind of like you, Lakia, I feel like I have to preface everything with, this is public knowledge before I say something. But it's public knowledge that, you know, he left on not the best of terms at Ohio State, and that was like 10 years ago, and people bring it up all the time. And it's kind of like you said, Morgan, we have done some clapbacks in the comments just because on TikTok it's risky, but it feels like a platform that you can be a little bit more risky. Like Instagram, sometimes you feel like you can be a little bit more laid back and like, you know, casual with what you're saying. But TikTok, you really can be like risky and laid back and casual and really go after people sometimes.
And they love it. Like they get so excited when like the brand talks back to them and like actually like kind of put them in their place. And it's like, yeah, success, you know, I feel good.
Yeah. That's the fun thing about TikTok, I think, is that people want to be roasted. Like in the comments, like they live for it. And so when you do it, they're like, oh, this is great. Meanwhile, on any other platform, they're like, who are you to talk to me like this?
Oh my goodness. I have a funny story really fast. So somebody did like a restaurant tour. Okay, let me go ahead and preface this. So we are the Gamecocks, right? It's very normal to say go Cocks, things like that. So just in case anyone is watching and is like, oh my God. So there's some restaurant in New York that is called the Flying Cock. And this girl, like, she did this tour about how the food was so good and blah, blah, blah. And so we commented on the video, boy, do we have a school for you. And it got so many, like it got thousands of likes. We got a couple follows off of that. And people were just dying laughing in the comments. Like it's one of those situations where like, it's on brand for you, but like that's not something we would do on Facebook or even Twitter. Right. But like for TikTok, it's okay. It makes sense.
That actually totally brings up a different aspect of TikTok too, where, and really I think with all social platforms, it's kind of like, are you engaging with people in the comments? You know, are you talking to them other than just posting comments or posting content? Sorry, got my C words mixed up there. But do you ever like scroll through TikTok, kind of like you just said, Lakia, like you find a video and you're like, oh, this would be a good thing to comment from USC and be like, you know, we have a school for you. But how many times like have you done that? Do you feel like that would be a good strategy, or is it a good strategy for you in terms of engagement?
Yeah, like I'll look at the videos that have mentioned us or comments that have mentioned us, and I'll go on there from our account. And like there was this one where this girl was freaking out because she was on Zoom and the guy heard like for her class, and this is all at IU, and she said something about, wow, he's cute, and she said it out loud, and like he heard her, and so she made a TikTok of it. Well, then he found that TikTok and did like the whole I'm blanking on the word
duet.
Yes. And was like, you know, let's go for ice cream sometime. Like this whole love story. And so I commented on it from us, and I'm just like, oh, so cute, love story, like, or whatever, who's your love, with a heart. And then like people were replying back like, oh my God, not the school commenting on this. Oh my gosh, LOL. And like bunch of likes on it. And we actually got in touch with him, our newsroom did, because of this, because we just found like mutual people, and they were like talking about writing a whole story about like how they found each other on TikTok from this like crazy incident. So sometimes there are really cute, fun ones like that, and then others like I know we've commented on like a Purdue one before, like of all the Indiana colleges, like which ones would you go to? And it's like, well, you would obviously choose us. And there's no other universities really commenting right now. I feel like not as much as we could be, where it's just like an easy win. So yeah, we try and get in comments as much as we can.
Love it.
So I agree. I think one thing I've noticed about like our students is they don't always tag us. So I look for hashtags that would make sense in the context of the university. So sometimes it's hashtag 5 points because that's our little bar district and where everyone goes, COVID or not, we know where they are. Sometimes it's searching U of SC or South Carolina or Gamecocks, things like that. So it's just trying to find them without context, because it's kind of like they don't want us to find them. So really going through hashtags and commenting as necessary. There was some international student, his entire post was in French, and I was like, okay, well, he used the hashtag, so he must be on the way here. So I went to Google Translate and tried to figure out how to say welcome in French, and then I responded welcome in French, and he was so excited. I was like, oh, that made my heart smile. So really that's it, trying to use hashtags without context because our students are too cool to tag us.
When I feel like they're always shocked that their school has a TikTok. They're like, what? Right. Why are you here? I'm like, we got verified last time. And they're like, why is IU verified? I'm like, because we're a real school. I don't know. Like,
right.
Okay, I have to ask, how did you get verified? Like, that is our biggest struggle right now.
It was super random. One of the TikTok representatives reached out to us on Instagram. Oh. And I think like education was her like client maybe or whatever at the time, and she's just like, hey, is this your account? Like, if it's you, if you run it, we'll reach out. And I had to sign paperwork, which felt so official, and then like a couple days later she had us verified, which it was kind of bittersweet because you always want that blue check mark, but it actually like depletes your entire music library and you can't use any copyrighted music or any like of the hot songs, so we have to like really work around that and try and find things, but we're learning how to find it.
Yeah.
And that was the same thing for us. A TikTok representative reached out to me on LinkedIn, and sometimes like in my head I'm like, is this a scam? Like, is somebody playing me right now? And so I showed it to my boss. She was like, well, just follow up and see. And she ended up getting us verified. But funny story, over 100,000 followers, and we're still not verified on Instagram.
Yeah, we're not either. I mean, we don't have 100,000 followers, but we're not either.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I have no idea why that's so complicated, but oh well.
Verification processes are like, okay, also, I feel like I just need to say this because we've been recording now for like 40 minutes. If anybody is hearing snoring, it is that dog on my bed. Oh, it is not me. I am not snoring while you guys are talking, I swear. Every now and then she's 10 pounds, but you would think that she was like a human, so just ignore it. I just had to like preface that because I was like, oh my gosh. So anyways, back to TikTok. Verification processes, I feel like on all social media is just, it's wild. I feel like that could be an entire panel discussion. Like, how did people who are, schools who got verified on Instagram get verified? Because I feel like that's the number one question in some of our groups half the time is how did that happen? So maybe Josie, if you're listening, that could be a panel discussion. So I feel like we've talked so much about just like community building in the comments with the content that we're using. How about like prospective students or students who, maybe were just accepted to your universities? Do you do fun stuff with them on TikTok? Like some of those unboxings or, like acceptance letter videos just make me tear up all the time.
Yeah, we so that's like one big reason how we like won over our leadership like with TikTok is like I took screenshots because of the comments. There are so many like teens on there who are like, oh my gosh, my future home, or that's my dream school. My mom went there, my uncle goes there. Do you know Billy Joe? That's my brother. Like, tell him hi. And I'm like, yeah, I know who that is. But it's like really funny. So, or they're just like, does IU reply? Are they gonna like reply in the comments? And we just say, hey, and they're like, oh my God, freak out. So, I mean, the number one like target audience on there are prospective students' ages. So, yeah, our comments are always filled with them. So it's like, I really want to reply or at least like their comments because that can be their first like actual touch point with the university. They're not on Twitter really anymore. Some are on Instagram, but I mean, not always. And Facebook, you can just forget about. So it's like, this could be their first time ever talking to the university or engaging with it. So let's make their day. And that's been like super fun. And so we haven't done too much with like acceptance, like videos, because ours is such a rolling basis. I almost wish we had like the big day, like everyone knows they're accepted on this day, because it'd be a lot easier to track. But we did do one last year where we did like a slideshow of everyone showing off. They get like an IU flag and admitted to IU is like the hashtag, and so they're using that. So we kind of gathered a bunch of UGC and made a slideshow off of that, and I mean it did well. It wasn't like our best video, but people were still like on there and excited to see themselves on TikTok.
For us, we more so engage with the students when they post that they've been accepted. Our hashtag is Going Garnet. So we try to comb through the hashtags to like see, who's excited about coming, who already found out, who's kind of anticipating or waiting. Occasionally we get that, hey, can I find out my status? I'm like, I can't help you there. I don't know what to say. So that's really it for us. We haven't really, and maybe that's something we'll look into going forward, actually. Like Morgan said, maybe grabbing UGC and putting it together and doing something cool of that nature. We more so reserve that for other platforms. We haven't really gone into it on TikTok yet, but definitely something we can look into. So really, it's just us engaging with them and saying welcome home or things to make them smile.
Yeah, definitely. Oh my gosh, I feel like there's so much that we could talk about on this topic, I feel like, because no matter what, anybody who's watching, no matter what your comfort level, I guess, is with TikTok, I feel like there's something new every day that we're all just discovering, or like a new way that, we can engage with people. And it's like you said, Morgan, I really like how you said, they're not really on these other platforms anymore. So TikTok might very well be the very first time they've ever had a chance to talk to the university or see something from the university. And so I think that's important for a lot of us to kind of keep in mind, especially as we're navigating our strategies for the coming year, just this shift. So I guess just because, both of you have quite a bit of TikToks on your accounts, because I stalk them all the time and I love watching them. And you have your students who help do stuff and you're doing some really amazing things. So I guess what kind of advice would you give to other higher ed social pros who are just nervous to get started on TikTok, don't know where to start, just the whole gamut?
Oh gosh, yeah. My biggest piece of advice I tell people, I'm like, if you, like, one, save your username always, because we've had it in the past where people have tried to be us and then post stupid stuff, and then where it's like, we need our handle. save your username, even if you're not thinking about posting anytime soon, but really just spend, like I said, like 30 minutes a day. One, it just is a nice brain break. And then also just you learn the feel and the tone of it, because it's so different from all the other channels. Like you really have to understand the tone, and some of it's like super dry humor, or just like it's just, I don't even know how to explain it. It's just different. So definitely spend some time in it. And then also, if you have student interns, or if you can even figure out how to do like a student focus group on like what they would like to see or what they do watch, just kind of learning what your students watch and look for when they're on TikTok. I think that's like the number one key to success for us, is just using our students. So it can be very daunting at first, but also it's like the most fun channel, and I love when we post on there. I love going on there and seeing the things that people comment. So it's kind of like almost just like it's not a sigh of relief, but it's just not fun to be on there.
It is. I completely agree with everything Morgan has said so far, but I will just reiterate, don't be afraid of talking to students, trying to get a feel for what they like and what they engage with. I mean, to be honest, I'm not a proponent of unpaid internships, but like try to get like 1 or 2 students at the very least and look at them as TikTok experts. So it'll take some stalking, find students that support your brand and naturally love it and kind of incorporate that into their content, and then figure out ways to apply it to the bigger brand, because you're essentially looking at those students to not be the voice of the brand, but essentially be the voice of the brand. So don't be afraid to get advice from students, because they're getting more and more advanced. And it's such a missed opportunity to just assume that because we're older that we will know what they'll engage with. So really just tapping into students, because that really took off for us. Like hiring Aiden really took off for our channel. So that is my advice.
Yeah. Finding a student who is not afraid to be goofy on camera, I feel like is the key here.
Yeah.
I feel like there's more like influencers, like everyone's big on influencers. I can't find them on TikTok or on Instagram, but like going on TikTok, I feel like I could easily find a group, even if they're just like micro influencers, like that's where they are. So look there.
Yeah. It almost makes me start to wonder, like we call them Gwinfluencers. Those are our ambassadors, and because we're the Penguins, and so for short it's Gwins, and the whole 9 yards. But it almost makes me wonder, like, do you see a shift from some of these ambassador programs that maybe we have at our schools right now, from them engaging more on Instagram to them doing way more with TikTok in the future?
Yeah, I feel like maybe eventually. I don't see it happening anytime soon, where it's just like everyone drops off Instagram and then goes to TikTok. There are still a lot of college students I've met who don't get TikTok, or they're still not on it, but they know what it is, at least compared to a year ago. But yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say, especially now. Like, I mean, there's Instagram Reels, and we all know it's not as great as TikTok, but I mean, that could turn into something. So I don't even know what to think of that.
Well, awesome. Well, I just want to thank both of you so much. Before we kind of sign off, do you have any like goals for your TikToks, or any last words that you want to put out into the air for this year?
I will say one thing that we didn't really get to touch on, but TikTok has also been a good place for us to monitor like some potential crisis situations, which has been helpful for us, especially with quarantine. And I'm sure we all saw or heard of like the whole situation with the food being brought to the quarantine or isolation dorms, and they're like a piece of bread and an apple. So things like that has been super helpful, and we've had that happen to us before. And like after reaching out to the student, it was of course not as bad as what he was making it. It was just for clout, but it's also just like super good to like make sure nothing's going viral about your school that could potentially damage some reputation.
I'd say that TikTok, like once you really get into it, it's so easy to like get lost on the app for hours. But when it comes to strategy for your organization or like your school, try to be as intentional as possible of following like relevant hashtags and relevant influencers. So by influencers, like students that have gone viral or have like large followings and consistently talk about your school or program. Like Morgan said, be able to monitor for crises, because that's not something that other people, older people would see. So that's not something like a board of trustees member would casually, come across on Twitter or something. So be intentional about your time on the app, because you can get lost in it for hours. So that is my advice.
Yeah, that's a really great point. And oh my gosh, I wish we had a whole nother hour. I feel like we could talk about like crisis monitoring, because you're so right. TikTok became this huge platform, especially when quarantine first began and students, especially when we came back in the fall and had to put students into quarantine. And it was those darn meals that got delivered that really just took the cake on a lot of those For You pages. But you're so right. It's another opportunity for monitoring and crisis management, just to kind of see what it is that people are talking about your institutions. So I just want to thank you both so much, though. I appreciate you taking the time to chat with us. Just so appreciative, because both of you are complete rock stars at your institutions. I love following both of you on Twitter, because I just think A, you're hilarious, and B, you both have such a great, great observations about things that are going on in our industry. Just you're both fantastic. So I just really, really appreciate you taking this time today. We'll definitely be dropping some of the favorite TikToks from IU Bloomington and USC, the original USC.
Thank you.
In the comments, so everybody can view them. And next week, be sure to tune in for best practices versus reasonable expectations for social media in higher ed. I feel like that is a huge topic, especially as we were getting on earlier. We were talking about some of the pressures that we're feeling just in general. And so I think that'll be a really great topic. So from me and my snoring dog back there, and Morgan and Lakia, thank you so much. We hope that you all have a great Friday.